right, good morning. So we're just out here doing a little shakedown run of the Jeep. We just did a bunch of light changes and suspension modifications. So we extended the wheelbase about 1/2 inch. We added a bunch of new front lights. Stuff's really freaking cool. We got these main guys right here, which are our main spots, and then they have some flood capability shooting out the sides. We got new fog lights. The old ones were dirty. And then we have these directional little aiming lights that are really awesome. Other than that, we're checking for rubbing, especially on this tire. Moved it that whole 1/2 inch back in the wheel well. So you can see it almost looks like it's gonna hit the back, but as it moves up, it moves forward. So our goal is to avoid ripping all of this crap out. It's a little sketchy. There you go. If you're going to be silly about taking lines, might as well commit the whole way. Do some light flexing. We're just cooking along right now. This is really a pretty relaxing trail for this vehicle. It's rated a 5 out of 10. 6 optional lines, which, you know, we are taking. We're driving over all the big stuff today. See how far we can make it without any lockers, any aids, anything like that. Because so far, the other note, we're on street pressure right now. I didn't feel like airing down. Partially because of laziness, partially because this is dry, and like I said, this is a really easy trail for this vehicle. Normally this thing only really starts to get pushed at obstacles that are rated around an 8 on trails off-road. So think like the hardest hot tubs on Hell's Revenge, that stuff starts to get a little sketchy. The escalator can get a little sketchy, but again, that's not really a hard obstacle, it's just annoying. Yeah, you know. And this thing does really good. So there's a good ledge in front of us right now. Let's see if we can get up it without lockers. With lockers, this thing would just walk up it even at street pressure, but let's do some driving, some driver mods real fast. Okay. This is gonna be sort of off camber-ish, but if I can just get this right side to climb. Oh, if I would have stayed in it, I had it. I just did not like the off camber, especially with all of the ice to our back right. Now I can actually use that to my advantage here and slip us this way so we're less off camber. There we go. That would have worked. Very, very close. If I would have just stayed in it. Let's try to hit this tree again. Do a very similar approach here. We'll cut even wider out. Yeah, doesn't look like anybody but me has made it past this. So, which is sort of unsurprising, but all right. Do this properly. You're just gonna stay in it this time. Well, hey, skip plates got us. The rear end did not want to, I didn't get the front to stay as left that time. Oh gosh. I will say the ledge is catching us really nicely whenever we do go off camber. Even though we're just sliding sideways on this ice hill, We do have a lot of stuff that is sort of protecting us and is stopping us really well. So just got to be smart about it, not get too much momentum, not back directly into the tree that's right behind us. All right, come on, hard left. Don't walk on me too much. Okay, there we go. You're walking a little bit. I'm gonna stay even higher. Oh God, she slid over. Damn, so close. You know, the funny thing too is that if I was aired down, this vehicle would just walk over this. But this is sort of fun. I haven't had a good challenge like this in this vehicle in a really long time. Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. Like this is really enjoyable because I've never, like, this thing just doesn't tend to struggle. So I realize it's sort of a funny thing to say, but it really does do so good. Like it's almost broken how good this thing does. You know, I can get 3 wheels on that ledge and then sort of slide over it. Let me try that. Okay, we're gonna need to get really close to this tree to do this. Yeah. Hit the tree, come on, hit the tree. Hit the tree. Oh yeah, all right, that's the closest we've gotten to the tree so far. Now, okay, I have the rear where I want it. Now the goal is to use this ramp, basically. Yep. We'll just boop. Yep, boop the tree. And then actually we're going to be in neutral. Tree check, of course. I'm going to let the back left go down the ledge. I'm going to trust it. There we go. Using a little bit of slip. Oh. Slip, slip, slip. Nice. Look at that. And that, okay, well, we did take the easiest way up the ledge, I will say, but doing it stock, like, I should say street pressure tires, all of that, I'm pretty happy with that. I do think if I was really aggressive and tried a couple more times on that top side, I could bump it up. That first time I had the line perfectly, and the reason is there's a rock that is, it was under the back right tire on that first time that we did that line. And because it was under the back right tire on the first time, it sort of ramped that tire up. And so we got 3 tires on the ledge. And if I hadn't let off the power, because that back right tire was just barely on the ledge, it would have pulled the back left off. So that was sort of a rookie mistake by me not committing. But I also didn't know how deep the side hill was, and if we slipped, what was going to happen to the vehicle. Like there was a lot of considerations there where I chose on the side of safety, especially because I'm out here by myself. But as you can probably tell, as soon as we figured out that ledge basically was catching the belly pan of the vehicle perfectly, our risks significantly decreased when it came to sliding, which is why we started to get more aggressive, because we knew that if we fucked up, all that was going to happen was that ledge was just going to catch the bottom of the Jeep. And once you have that confidence, like, my goodness, does that help a lot. Okay, I still want to go up the snowy section. The problem is I don't really feel like doing this whole loop, especially because it gets sort of off camber and side hilly. If that's not icy, we can walk up that. You know what? I think that because this is definitely the less sketchy to go down, we're going to head up the snowy side, because I would much rather go up the snow than down the snow, just as a general rule. You always want to do your slick stuff on the uphill. That way you slide back, you know, and you can back down if necessary. Never want to do your slick stuff on the downhill, in my experience. All right. Yeah, this is where running into street pressure is causing some issues. And I'm not super stoked on digging out this trail a lot either. I don't really want to do that. So what I will do is I will push some snow. I'll give it another solid amount of throttle, because backing down there was not very sketchy. And then yeah, let's see what she does. Oh yeah, she started to pull me to the side there. Yeah, I think we're reaching the limits of what we can do without airing down. I can't make it up this though. But we're starting to really dig into the soil, and like I said, I just don't feel like airing down today. This is just a shakedown run, and I don't want to get myself into something that I can't get myself out of. So what I am going to do though is I am going to go fill in this rut. Gosh, it is just beautiful though, isn't it? Just absolutely gorgeous. Let's disable the rear locker so it's less slidey. Keep the front locker on so it does slide. And let's slide the nose of this baby downhill. Only a little sketchy, right? Oh, this only works in the snow, by the way. All right, now we're gonna go, I'm gonna leave actually we're gonna take off all of our lockers. Wow. We really can just use first gear to control our descent here. Looks so chaotic, but it's really just a beautiful day. Now, the safe way to do this would 110% be to not go straight down this ledge. But we know it's icy, so if we just point ourselves directly downhill, the nose of the Jeep is just gonna hang downhill. That's how this stuff works. Something I am gonna do is we're going to enable our front and rear lockers. The reason for this is that this actually allows, through the drivetrain, us to use the power of all 4 brakes on whatever wheels that are touching the ground. If you think about it, it makes actually a lot of sense, because our 4 wheels are locked together. If I brake on the front right, that's actually applying braking force through the drive shaft, through the transfer case, to all 3 other wheels. So what that means is that if you have lockers, you have the ability to use all 4 of your brakes to control the only wheels that are touching the ground. And that's pretty cool. So let's do this. Nice and slow. Now here's the other thing. Normally I would always steer in the direction of the roll risk. I'm going to split some hairs with this, or I'm going to steer sort of straight so I can turn right if I'm going to roll. I can turn left when we start to slide. Yeah, see? There we go. Roll risk goes to the right. Now roll risk, woo, is sorted to the left. Now here's the problem. Me, in my infinite wisdom, I have placed a GoPro right where I thought we were going to roll over. So we are now going to take a slightly alternate line and just mosey along this tree. But look at that, nice and controlled. And that is the power of being able to use all of your brakes on just the tires that are touching the ground. It really gives you a lot of safety margin. So Yeah. You can smell a little bit of brake. We're going so nice and slow and chill. This is this Jeep does some speed, so we don't have to do that. We'll let it go to third, and then we can use some horsey powers on this adventure. Like I said, this Jeep has a bunch of up travel. It is designed to be able to be driven fast through rocky environments. Like my normal use case, if I'm being really honest, like I love doing challenge trails. I have a bunch of Jeep badges of honor. I do a bunch of hard stuff in Moab. But really my thing is like camping with my buddies, going out in the snow. I love winter camping. Like I drive in snow that is probably 5 times as deep as this pretty often in this vehicle. You can actually carve through this just to have some fun. But because I do so much overlanding, the ability to just eat big rocks and to do so at speed is something that I really, like, I take pride in. I've climbed this rock before, by the way. This is a pretty sick rock. I love going up this thing. I'm just gonna, oh. We touched it with the bumper. My bad. Let's make an adjustment. Just trying to do something else. Just trying to do a cool little wall ride, which is, I think we'll very lightly tap it. There we go. Just trying to have fun. Okay, look at that. Look at the brake torque working. Oh, and here's the cool part. This is a great situation for me to check and test where this side is rubbing and by how much it's rubbing. Okay, so as you can tell, got this tire pretty in there. We're still not actually at full flex. We're at most flex. So if you can see, I'll get you in there. We have, I'll do finger for scale. Finger for scale. I don't know, we have about 1.5 inches of shock shaft showing. So we shouldn't really be close right now. Ugh. Gotta climb up this. Go around. But we're looking in there. Yeah, see, it's not touching yet. So only when you're going downhill are we touching. As you can tell, this guy, he hasn't even made contact. So I'll have to see if I can make some adjustments, but I think this side is good. This sway bar is out of the way, or this sway bar link. And then actually, this is a good chance. I think we are almost flexed out on here. Yeah, we're making very slight contact at the front of the fender, but like very slight. Like that's, you see how little I'm having to push for that to not touch? So that's basically not touching anymore. Let's see about this. Oh yeah, there's plenty of room in there. So we're no longer touching. I could, as we can tell, I could extend the wheelbase another 1/2 inch to get this tire more centered. If I moved anything bigger, I will have to do that. Yeah, well, okay. That's not bad. Really not bad at all. Such a good looking vehicle. I don't know how much I want to follow this line. I think I am going to let the Jeep push itself down off of this ledge. Just very nice and slowly. Yeah. Beautiful. All right. And then what we can do is we can go up this one though. Just for shits and giggles, have some fun with it. Just go up this. Loop around. really just drop this tire out because we can. I think we'll probably rub a little bit too because the other tires aren't super high. Oh yeah, just light tap, a little bit of skid plate, and down the rear we go. Whee! Look at that. This is why not running a disconnected Jeep is so nice. This vehicle is so stable and not sketchy compared to, gosh, so many Jeeps I've been in. Like and the reason for this is this has front and rear sway bars. So I have what's known as a multi-mode front sway bar. It's made by a company called Off-Road Only, ORO, and it has 2 modes. I'm gonna actually get an air switch for it here soon. But the way that it works is that you have a little lever on it, you flip it forwards, it has a thick street sway bar. It's I'd say about 50% stronger than the stock sway bar. It is a ridiculously beefy sway bar. And that's pretty sick. Now, when you go off-road, it has something that's very similar to a Curry anti-rock on the inside of that beefcake sway bar. And the best thing about that is it means that my front and rear sway bars, so I still have the stock rear sway bar because it does a good job, are very balanced. And what balanced sway bars does for you is on stuff like that where you're off camber or there's tires in the air, like the Jeep never feels like it's rocking back and forth. Like I never get that sensation that people talk about that's super sketchy. We're gonna take a really stupid line, I think, to demonstrate this real fast. And I'm gonna do the same thing. Locker's on. I'm gonna steer towards where the hole is, right? Because remember, mitigating rollover risk. I've done this ledge before, so, you know. I've also almost rolled Jeeps on this a couple times, so, you know, don't worry about it. But okay, look, this is supposed to be like super sketchy, right? I'm gonna tell you, our front right wheel, it's in the air. It's not touching anything. Front left, stuffed. Like stuffed stuff. And look, now it's going down. We're facing downhill. We're like nose into this ditch. See how like nothing's happening? Okay, let's make sure the wheels actually turn, mitigate rollover risk, like I said, right? Okay, now watch. This back left tire, you will see it in there, it is going to stuff super hard. Front left is in the air. Back right's in the air. This Jeep don't care. Look at that. Now this tire's gonna come down, we're gonna steer left, basically pull the bumper out of the way from this ledge. Look at that, we just went down a ledge that if you look straight back is the height of the doors on my Jeep. So about 5 feet. Right? So this is what happens when you design a vehicle to use all of its travel. So all those guys with those crazy travel numbers and stuff, most dudes that I've met that have 12-inch Fox shocks are running 2.0s, which I'm gonna say, for the value, pretty good shock. Great control. But they're usually only using something like 10 inches of that travel, maybe 9. And I'm gonna tell you, they're running like 2 to 3 inches of up travel. I've seen Jeeps just sitting around in parking lots that have like 1.5 inches of up travel. So the distance that your axle can move up when riding at rest. So do you know what that means? That means that your left tire goes over a 3-inch rock when you got like 2 inches of up travel, and your vehicle is gonna lift up. You're going to feel that rock. All that is to say, if your travel numbers, if you're not getting like at least 90 to 95% of the travel you paid for, why did you pay for it? You should be running a cheaper shock. And if your rig really can't use it, you should actually probably run a shorter stroke shock, get some high cut fenders, and get more up travel instead of down travel. Because if you do that, you get a rig like this. And let's rail some stuff. Let's go fast. anyway, all this is to say, right, putting the lift on the truck is about 25% of the work, okay? So putting the shocks on, doing the research, all that, that's 25% of the work. Now, once you have the lift on it, you gotta optimize. You have to cut fenders, you gotta mold things, you gotta hammer pinch welds. Like you really have to take care of the rig and see if what you did to it works. I have a buddy, we put a great little Bilstein 6112 front, 5160 rear lift on him. I'm gonna tell you, putting the lift on took a weekend. Actually getting everything optimized and taken care of and really building that vehicle out, it's taken about a month. A bunch of different runs, a bunch of different rig work. There's all of these things that when you put it together, takes up a lot of time. Optimization is actually where you get the majority of the performance out of a vehicle. When we just put the lift on, his bump stops, after our optimization, his bump stops are 2 inches shorter in the rear, his fenders are all cut, they're about a ½ inch shorter in the front. He legitimately has, when flexed, almost 3.5 more inches of wheel movement, just because it's set up properly. So, when it comes to this stuff, optimization is key, and that's what I'll leave you with. Anyway, thanks for coming on my shakedown run. I've had an absolutely great time setting everything up and seeing how the vehicle works. We'll make some small modifications to those lights, and yeah, we'll be out here again.